Most people think owning a Porsche after warranty is financial suicide. But these 10 prove otherwise. They're insanely fun, shockingly dependable, and one is so bulletproof, it's turning nervous buyers into lifelong Porsche addicts. Number 10. Porsche Taycan, 2020 to 2024. Starting around $86,000 and climbing to over $200,000 for the Turbo S, the EV rocket ship that made Tesla owners question their life choices the moment they saw those Porsche badge brakes glowing under regen. Picture this. You're cruising in what is essentially a silent missile, an electric Porsche that hits 60 miles per hour in 2.6 seconds and feels like you just teleported. You glide past gas stations with the smugness of a saint. You pull into charging stations and strangers whisper, "That's the Turbo S." And your biggest worry isn't the next repair bill. It's whether anyone saw you launch from the last stoplight. Now imagine telling someone 5 years ago that a fully electric Porsche would exist, let alone challenge the 911's performance. They'd laugh you out of the room. Well, guess who's laughing now? Porsche. But here's what shocked me when I dug deeper. The Taycan is both a performance miracle and a long-term financial trap, depending on how brave you are past the warranty. This is the first Porsche with an 800-volt electrical system, something you normally see in race cars and Formula E machines. The Turbo S pumps out up to 750 horsepower in overboost mode. The instant torque is addictive, violent in the best way. One small toe movement, and you're suddenly reconsidering whether you trust your own reflexes. Here's what changed everything. Porsche didn't build this like a typical EV. They engineered it like a supercar. 2-speed rear transmission, liquid-cooled battery pack, synchronized inverters, thermal management systems that sound like they belong in a nuclear submarine. Gone are the lifeless, numb EV dynamics. Gone are the one-pedal, no-soul complaints. Gone is the idea that electric cars can't feel mechanical or connected. The reality check? This thing is brutally fast, endlessly smooth, absurdly refined, and outrageously complex. And here's what the numbers don't tell you. Consumer Reports is cautious for a reason. Car Edge shows 5-year ownership costs that make AMG GLE drivers feel better about their decisions. JD Power? Let's just say the Taycan isn't winning any Most Dependable EV awards. One owner wrote, 2 months, 3 charging system faults. I love this car, but I keep a backup plan. Another said, my Taycan is incredible when it feels like working. This is where the story gets interesting. High-voltage faults can turn into multi-thousand-dollar repairs. Battery cooling issues can brick the fast charging capability. The infamous 12-volt accessory battery failure? That one can shut the entire car down like you unplugged a gaming PC. But here's the part that blows my mind. The Taycan's depreciation curve falls faster than a dropped iPhone. A $150,000 Taycan Turbo S can sit at $90,000 3 years later. EV depreciation is brutal, and performance EV depreciation is catastrophic. But here's the twist. If you lease it, it's perfect. If you keep it under warranty, you're in heaven. The Taycan will give you the greatest drives of your life, but hold on to it past 60,000 miles? Now you're gambling with high-voltage architecture, thermal systems, modules, sensors, and electronics that cost more than some used sports cars. Number 10 is the electric Porsche that proves 2 things at once. Porsche knows how to build the future, and the future is expensive when it goes wrong.
But number 9? It's a Porsche that doesn't rely on electrons or luck to stay reliable.
Number 9. Porsche Panamera, 2021 to 2024. Starting around $72,000 used and climbing past $150,000 for turbo models, this is the four-door Porsche everyone used to avoid, until Porsche quietly rebuilt it into a reliability sleeper. Picture this. You pull up in a Panamera that looks like a land-based bullet. Long hood, wide hips, razor-sharp profile. People see it and assume you've got a 911 at home and a Rolex on your wrist. What they don't assume? That this thing is finally dependable. 10 years ago, telling someone the Panamera was reliable would have gotten you laughed out of the dealership. Early Panameras had electrical nightmares, suspension failures, and engines that aged like bananas. But here's the plot twist. The 2021 refresh changed everything. This is the 971.2 generation, the facelift where Porsche quietly fixed every major fault, refined the powertrains, updated the electronics, and created something genuinely impressive. Under the hood, you'll find engines ranging from a 325 horsepower V6, a 443 horsepower twin-turbo V6, a 552 horsepower hybrid, all the way to the face-melting 620 horsepower Turbo S. And here's the insane part. They actually hold up. Gone are the fragile timing components of the early Panameras. Gone are the glitchy infotainment systems that rebooted more than Windows XP. Gone are the cheap interior switches that aged faster than fast fashion. The new Panamera's refinement is real. The updated PCM infotainment system is miles more stable. The transmission calibration is slicker. The hybrid system behaves like Porsche engineers actually drank water instead of espresso the week they designed it. Here's the reality check. Car Edge shows drastically improved ownership cost curves for the updated Panamera. No longer the wallet-destroying disaster of the 2010s. Consumer Reports' owner satisfaction for the Panamera shot up, especially for the refresh years. Mechanics, who once used to groan when one arrived, now quietly admit, yeah, these new ones are actually solid. But here's what the numbers don't tell you. The Panamera isn't just reliable, it feels expensive. The interior is a masterpiece of Porsche minimalism. Glass touch surfaces, stitched leather everywhere, tight tolerances, and a cockpit that wraps around you like a fighter jet. Driving it? This is where the magic happens. You're piloting a 4,700-pound luxury flagship, yet it corners like a 911 that went through an MBA program. The steering is sharp. The suspension feels like it reads the road. And the acceleration? Let's just say the Turbo S will make your passengers rethink their life decisions. But here comes the part smart buyers need to hear. Depreciation is your best friend. A Panamera loses value when new. Hard. Which means you can pick one up for prices that don't match how expensive it feels. This is flagship Porsche luxury without flagship Porsche pain. However, only the 2021 Plus models get this praise. Earlier Panameras? That's a different story. Electrical glitches, air suspension failures, hybrid battery stress, all real problems on pre-refresh years. Get the wrong one, and you're buying someone else's unfinished horror story. But get a clean 2021 to 2024 model. Now you've struck gold. You've got a Porsche that delivers 911 grade engineering, S-Class comfort, and long-term livability without the financial trauma. Number 9 is the executive luxury Porsche for people who want a fast sedan that actually behaves. But number 8? It's the first Porsche on this list
that moves with electric silence and German confidence. And it might be the most controversial pick we make.
Number 8. Porsche Cayenne, 2020 to 2024. Starting around $58,000 used and climbing to $130,000 plus for the Turbo GT. The Cayenne is the SUV that looks like it should destroy your wallet. Big, complicated, German, and packed with technology. But here's the twist. These newer Cayennes are shockingly reliable. Picture this. You're sitting in a full-size SUV with the stature of a Range Rover, the interior quality of a Bentley light cabin, and the performance of a sports sedan. You hit the start button. The cabin seals you in silence, and the Cayenne, relax, I got this. 10 years ago, telling someone to buy a used Cayenne was like telling them to invest in blockbuster stock. But the third generation? The 2020 Plus refresh? Completely different story. This is where Porsche got serious. They refined the platform. They updated the electronics. They solved the drivetrain quirks. And they created the most dependable Cayenne era ever measured. Under the hood, your engine choices range from the 335 horsepower single-turbo V6, the 434 horsepower twin-turbo V6 in the S, to the 453 horsepower and 670 horsepower hybrid monsters, and all the way up to the 631 horsepower Turbo GT, the SUV that laps the Nürburgring like it forgot it weighs over 2 tons. Here's what matters. These engines last. These transmissions last. The powertrains are stout, reinforced, and built with Porsche's newer reliability standards. And here's the part that shocked me when I dug deeper. CarEdge doesn't punish the 2020 Plus Cayenne the way it punishes BMW X7s, Audi Q8s, or Range Rovers. The ownership cost curve doesn't spike like a horror movie plot twist. The data actually puts the Cayenne above average for long-term value retention. Consumer Reports? They praise it for improved electronics, stable drivetrains, and far fewer complaints than the Cayennes of the past. Mechanics? They say something I never thought I'd hear about a Porsche SUV. These newer Cayennes barely break. But here's what the numbers don't tell you. The Cayenne drives with this strange mix of size and precision you don't get from any other brand. The steering feels alive. Not numb, not loose, but tight, like a sports car hiding in a weightlifter's body. The chassis feels planted. Body roll exists, but only politely. The suspension absorbs bad roads like they're rumors, not facts. Inside, you're surrounded by Porsche craftsmanship. A cockpit that feels carved, not assembled. Touch surfaces that respond like high-end audio equipment. Screens that blend seamlessly into black glass. Everything feels expensive, because it is expensive. But here's the caution that separates smart buyers from sorry ones. You must avoid abused hybrids unless service records are flawless. Hybrid battery stress can turn into a 5-figure bill. Air suspension is durable, but only when maintained. And if previous owners ignored the Porsche service schedule, you'll pay for their sins. But get a clean 2020 Plus Cayenne serviced correctly and not hammered like a rally car disguised as a family hauler. Now you own a Porsche SUV that won't melt your savings. Number 8 is the luxury SUV built for people who want Range Rover presence with Porsche reliability, a rare combination. But number 7 is where things get wild. It's smaller, sharper, quicker on its feet, and depending on who you ask, the best driving SUV Porsche has ever built. Number 7, Porsche Macan, 2022 to 2024. Starting around $55,000 used for base models and pushing $85,000 plus for GTS versions,
This is the Porsche that mechanics secretly recommend. The one SUV that blends performance, build quality, and long-term durability in a way even BMW and Audi struggle to match. Picture this. You climb into a 2024 Macan and immediately feel like you're in a low-slung sports machine, not a family SUV. The steering wheel is heavy in that perfect Porsche way. The interior wraps around you like a cockpit, not a cabin. And when you pull away, the first thought in your head is, why does this SUV drive better than most sedans? Because Porsche built the Macan differently. They didn't start with an SUV platform. They started with a sports car philosophy and forced it into an SUV shape. Under the hood, your engine options make the story even more interesting. The 261 horsepower 2.0T that punches above its numbers. The 375 horsepower twin-turbo V6 in the S that pulls like a freight train. The 434 horsepower GTS, one of the best powertrains Porsche has ever put in a compact chassis. And the PDK? Let's talk about it.
Porsche's dual-clutch PDK is the hero of this entire vehicle. While other brands struggle with jerky shifts, clutch slipping, overheating, and software chaos, the PDK is smooth, consistent, and terrifyingly dependable. Mechanics swear by it. Track drivers swear by it. Long-term owners worship it. 0 to 60 times? The Macan S runs 4.4 seconds. The GTS dips just above 4.0 seconds. In an SUV. Let that sink in. But here's the part that shocked me most when digging through owner data. Consumer Reports gives the Macan some of the highest predicted reliability ratings in the entire luxury compact SUV segment. Car Edge shows the Macan's long-term repair curve beating the BMW X3, Audi SQ5, and Mercedes GLC. And real owners online? They back it up. One owner on Reddit wrote, 80,000 miles? 0 major issues? Tires and oil. Can't believe I'm saying this about a Porsche. Another said, this is the first German luxury SUV that hasn't tried to financially ruin me. But here's what the numbers don't tell you. The Macan feels solid. The doors close like a bank vault. The interior materials hold up without squeaks or rattles. The electronics, something every modern luxury brand struggles with, are stable, predictable, and less fragile than the competition. And then there's the way it drives. The steering isn't just sharp, it's alive. You feel the road in a way no SUV should ever allow. Cornering? It stays flat like a sports sedan engineered to ignore physics. Braking? Massive, confidence-inspiring, overbuilt, classic Porsche. But here's the smart buyer warning. The Macan is only a superstar when you buy the gas version. The EV Macan? That's a different chapter for a different time. Stick with the 2022 to 2024 gasoline Macans, and you get one of the most reliable Porsches ever engineered. An SUV that blends performance, luxury, and long-term dependability in a way no other German brand gets consistently right. Number 7 is the Porsche SUV for people who want thrills and sanity. But number 6, it's not an SUV. It's pure Porsche sports car DNA, distilled, sharpened, and shockingly dependable once you peek at the real data. Number 6. Porsche 718 Cayman, 2020 to 2024. Starting around $58,000 used and climbing to $100,000 plus for the GTS and GT4, the 718 Cayman is Porsche's purest modern sports car. Mid-engine, rear drive, perfect weight balance. A chassis so precise it feels like it's reading your thoughts before you think them. And here's the twist.
While internet myths scream expensive to maintain, the real-world data says something completely different. CarEdge's ownership cost curve for the 718 is shockingly mild for what it is. Consumer Reports puts Porsche reliability near the top of all luxury performance brands. And mechanics privately admit what Porsche fans have been saying for years. These 718s barely break. Picture this. You're sitting low, almost on the pavement, looking over the sculpted Cayman fenders. You hit the start button, and the 2-liter or 2.5-liter turbo flat 4 wakes up with that signature Porsche whir, or, if you're in a GTS or GT4, the naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6 roars to life like a mechanical symphony tuned by angels and caffeinated engineers. The specs? They're insane for a car this small. Base Cayman, 300 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. Cayman S, 350 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. Cayman GTS 4, 394 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. Cayman GT 4, 414 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. But the numbers don't tell the story. The handling does.
Turn into a corner, and the Cayman responds instantly, perfectly balanced, like the steering rack is connected directly to your nervous system. There's no body roll, no hesitation, no dead zone in the steering. This is the sports car that every journalist calls the best handling Porsche money can buy, including the 911. But what shocks buyers most is the reliability. This is the part the forums about, and the part Porsche doesn't brag loudly enough. The 718 platform is nearly bulletproof. No IMS issues like early 911s. No bore scoring epidemics like older flat 6s. No catastrophic timing chain failures. No fragile dual clutch drama. The PDK is one of the most durable transmissions on Earth. One long-term owner wrote, 60,000 miles, 0 issues, just oil and tires. It feels like it's carved from one solid piece of metal. Another said, most reliable car I've owned, and I came from Lexus. Even the 4-liter flat 6, the one everyone expected to be high maintenance because of its high performance, is proving itself remarkably durable when maintained on time. And here's something that will shock you if you've never researched one. Parts costs are lower than most AMG, M-Series or RS cars. Brake jobs? That less than a BMW M2. Spark plugs? Cheaper than a Mercedes C43. Tires? Yes, they're expensive, but not supercar expensive. Now here's the one caution that separates smart Cayman buyers from the unlucky ones. Buy the car with service records. Interim oil changes are essential. Cooling system flushes matter. PDK service matters. If the previous owner treated it like a Honda Civic, it won't die, but it won't age gracefully either. But get a clean, documented 718 Cayman? You've got a Porsche that outhandles cars twice the price, outlasts cars half the price, and feels like it's engineered to survive your worst driving days and your best track days. Number 6 is the Porsche that proves a true sports car doesn't have to be fragile. But number 5? It's the drop-top twin. Same chassis, same soul, but with a personality of pure sunshine. Number 5. Porsche 911 Carrera / Carrera S, 2020 to 2024. Starting around $92,000 used, and stretching past $140,000 for clean, low-mileage S models. This is the Porsche that blends supercar performance with daily driver dependability better than anything else on the road. Picture this. You're sitting low in the cockpit,
staring at those iconic 911 fenders. You press the start button, and the 3-liter twin-turbo flat six fires up with that unmistakable Porsche heartbeat, refined, balanced, and quietly confident, like it knows exactly what it is, a machine engineered to embarrass anything with a luxury badge. Here's the twist most buyers never see coming. While BMW M cars are having cooling issues, AMG V8s are fighting catastrophic timing failures, and Audi RS engines are playing electrical roulette, the modern 992 Generation 911 shrugs and keeps going. Consumer Reports calls it one of the most reliable performance cars tested. Car Edge shows lower long-term cost of ownership than most luxury SUVs. J.D. Power consistently scores the 911 near the top of the entire premium sports segment.
This is the Porsche reliability miracle nobody talks about, because 911 owners are too busy driving. Let's talk performance. The numbers are absurd for something this livable. 379 horsepower Carrera, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. 443 horsepower Carrera S, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. With launch control, some owners are seeing 3.2 seconds repeatedly without drama. And that PDK? It's witchcraft. No hesitation, no lag, no drama. Just gear changes so quick and smooth, they feel like a glitch in the Matrix. But here's what the numbers don't tell you. The 992 doesn't just drive fast. It feels invincible. The steering is telepathic. The chassis rotates around you like you're sitting inside the car's center of gravity. The suspension absorbs bumps in a way no supercar should. And the car never feels nervous, never feels fragile, never feels like you're driving something that cost 6 figures. You don't handle a 992. A 992 trusts you. But what truly earns this 911 a spot on a post-warranty list is the engineering underneath. No IMS failures like the early 2000s era. No bore-scoring nightmares like the 997.1 days. No fragile timing system drama. No overheating turbos. No electrical chaos. This is the most mechanically stable 911 Porsche has ever built. One owner wrote, 50,000 miles, daily driven, 0 issues, just tires and oil. It drives like the day I bought it. Another said, my Carrera S is the most reliable car I've owned, period. And my last car was a Lexus. Let that sink in. Even the interior feels built to last. Buttons that click like high-end cameras, leather that doesn't wrinkle, and screens that don't glitch every time Mercury goes retrograde. The only real caution? Avoid cars with track abuse disguised as spirited weekend driving. Launch control counters don't lie. Tire wear patterns tell stories. Porsche service records matter. But a clean, documented 992 Carrera or Carrera S? That's the holy grail of daily drivable supercars. Fast enough to terrify you, comfortable enough to commute in, reliable enough to own without fear. Number 5 is the Porsche 911 that proves high performance doesn't need to equal high risk. But number 4, it's the same Porsche spirit, but with the roof ripped off and no fear of long-term ownership. Number 4. Porsche 718 Boxster, 2020 to 2024. Starting around $60,000 used and climbing to $105,000 plus for 4-liter GTS trims, this is the Porsche that gives you open-air joy without the financial pain most convertibles bring. Picture this. You drop the top, the wind slides in, and you hear the mid-engine heartbeat right behind your spine. Not above, not in front,
behind you. Press the start button, and the flat 4 or flat 6 clears its throat like it's about to perform opera. This is not a cute convertible. It's a weapon disguised as a postcard from the Riviera. And here's what makes this Boxster special. This is the 982nd generation, the modernized, refined, perfected evolution. The one that got updated electronics, improved cooling, reinforced timing systems, more durable turbo hardware, and interior components designed to last. Porsche fixed the stuff that annoyed owners on earlier years, and the result is the most dependable Boxster Porsche has ever made. Under the hood, the engines are deceptively strong. 300 horsepower 2-liter turbo, 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. 350 horsepower 2.5-liter turbo S, 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. 394 horsepower 4-liter GTS flat 6, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. 414 horsepower GT4 powertrain Spider, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds.
But the numbers don't tell the full story. The magic of the 718 Boxster is the steering. That razor-sharp Porsche steering that feels alive, like the front tires are whispering secrets about the road. The mid-engine balance makes the car rotate with precision you won't find in the BMW Z4 or Mercedes SLC. The chassis doesn't lean, it carves. And here's where things get shocking. For a convertible sports car, historically one of the least reliable vehicle categories, the Boxster behaves like an overbuilt Volkswagen. CarEdge's cost curve is far below BMW Z4, Audi TT, and even some Lexus convertibles. Consumer Reports gives the 718 lineup higher predicted reliability than most German luxury cars. And the owners back it up. One owner said, 40,000 miles, daily driven, top down 80% of the time, 0 issues. My mechanic hates how little money I spend. Another wrote, this is my third Porsche. The 718 is the one I trust. The PDK transmission? Bulletproof. The manual gearbox? Mechanical perfection. The chassis? Built like Porsche expects you to chase apexes every weekend and survive doing it. Even the convertible top mechanism, the piece everyone expects to break, is shockingly durable. It folds in seconds, seals perfectly, and rarely causes trouble. Porsche engineered the top to be simple, strong, and reliable because they knew convertible buyers don't want drama. But here's the one secret that separates smart Boxster buyers from the unlucky ones. Avoid examples with aftermarket exhaust tunes that were paired with lazy maintenance. High-revving flat 6s hate skipped oil changes. Turbo flat 4s hate overheated track days. A pre-purchase inspection is your best friend, especially checking for underbody heat discoloration, coolant leaks, and improper alignment. But get a clean 2020 to 2024 Boxster with proper records? You've just bought the most reliable open-top Porsche ever built. A car that delivers supercar handling, convertible joy, and Porsche durability in one gorgeous mid-engine package. Number 4 is the Porsche for people who want sunshine with their speed and don't want the repair bills that usually come with it. But number 3? It's the Porsche that isn't supposed to be reliable, yet somehow became the track-ready monster you can daily drive. Number 3. Porsche 911 GT3, 2021 to 2024. Starting around $170,000 used and stretching past $260,000 for touring, Weissach, or low-mile unicorns, the 992 GT3 is the Porsche that defies every rule about what a track-focused supercar should be. Picture this.
You strap yourself into those carbon buckets, close the lightweight door, and suddenly the world outside feels irrelevant. You press the start button, and the naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6 wakes up with a snarl. Not a polite hum, not a filtered growl, a snarl. A mechanical, metallic, spine-tingling symphony that reminds you this engine revs to 9,000 RPM and does not care about your feelings. When you drive a GT3, you're not piloting a car. You're conducting a musical instrument built by engineers who worship physics. Here's the part that breaks people's brains. This 9,000 RPM engine is incredibly durable. Consumer Reports and owner panels consistently rank the GT3 among the most reliable high-performance cars in the world. Car Edge shows long-term ownership curves that look nothing like the exotic category. No catastrophic failure cliffs, no supercar horror spikes.
J.D. Power surveys and enthusiast forums say the same thing. This engine is bulletproof, as long as you service it on time. Let's talk specs. 502 horsepower, 346 pound-feet of torque, 9,000 RPM redline, 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, top speed, 198 miles per hour, manual or PDK, both incredible, both durable. But numbers don't tell you what it feels like. You turn into a corner, and the GT3 dives in like it's hunting apexes on instinct. The front end is laser-guided. The rear steer system makes the car change direction like it's lighter than air. Every input feels like it's being processed instantly. No delay, no hesitation, no softness. This is the closest thing to a street-legal race car that won't try to bankrupt you. And here's the shocking part. It survives daily life better than some sports sedans. Owners report 20,000, 30,000, even 50,000 hard-driven miles with nothing but routine maintenance, oil, filters, tires, and brake pads. One GT3 owner wrote, "Tracking twice a month, daily driving, no failures. This car scares me with how reliable it is." Another said, "I expected supercar drama. I got Toyota reliability with 9,000 RPM." Even the PDK, arguably the most stressed transmission Porsche makes, continues to prove it's overbuilt, over-engineered, and nearly impossible to kill. But here's the warning that separates responsible owners from financially destroyed ones. You must avoid cars abused with high over-rev counts, improper warm-up habits, missed coolant service, cheap oil, or excessive track heat cycles without proper cooldowns. Porsche records every over-rev. Level 4, 5, and 6 over-revs? That's a GT3 you walk away from. Not run, walk, because the seller is already suffering. But a clean GT3 with proper service records? Congratulations, you've bought a 9,000 RPM naturally aspirated rear-engined weapon that ages like a well-maintained aircraft engine. Number 3 is the Porsche for people who want race car performance with commuter car reliability. A combination so rare it almost feels illegal. But number 2? It's the Porsche most people ignore, most people misunderstand, and most people don't realize is one of the best long-term ownership choices Stuttgart has ever made. Number 2, Porsche Panamera, 2021 to 2024. Starting around $72,000 used and pushing $150,000 plus for Turbo S and executive trims, the Panamera is the Porsche that looks like it should drain your wallet with every key turn. Big engines, big electronics, big luxury, big everything. Except the repair bills, if you buy the right years. Picture this. You glide into a Panamera cockpit that feels like a first-class cabin engineered by someone who hates plastic.
Everything you touch is leather, glass, metal, or something that feels scientifically expensive. You hit the start button, and the 3-liter turbo V6 or 2.9-liter twin-turbo V6 comes to life like a calm, confident professional. Not trying to impress you, not trying to scare you, just letting you know it's ready for whatever you throw at it. This is the 971.2 refresh, the generation that quietly corrected every major flaw from the first Panamera era. The nightmare electronics? Fixed. The fragile infotainment? Rewritten. The suspension gremlins? Refined. The turbo oiling sensitivity? Solved. The early Panamera's Porsche tax repair culture? Greatly reduced. Under the hood, the engines are tanks disguised as luxury power plants. 325 horsepower 3-liter turbo V6, the smoothest base engine Porsche has ever offered. 443 horsepower 2.9-liter twin turbo V6 4S, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. 552 horsepower hybrid, shockingly reliable for its complexity. 620 horsepower Turbo S, a ballistic missile disguised as an executive sedan. And what absolutely blew my mind during the data dive?
CarEdge shows the 2021 to 2024 Panamera with lower projected long-term costs than the equivalent Mercedes S-Class, BMW 7 Series, or Audi A8. Consumer Reports' owner satisfaction jumped significantly in the refresh years, and long-term owners report far fewer catastrophic failures compared to the older 970 and early 971 models. Mechanics, the people who used to roll their eyes at the Panamera, now admit these newer Panameras are actually solid cars. Porsche fixed the pain points. But here's what the numbers don't capture: how incredibly refined the Panamera feels when you drive it. The steering doesn't feel large luxury. It feels Porsche. Sharp, calm, predictable. The chassis blends highway comfort with quiet aggression. Compliant when you want, focused when you push. The air suspension floats without ever feeling disconnected. And the way the Panamera rotates through corners, no other full-size luxury sedan does that. It feels alive. This is a 4,500-pound executive flagship that drives like it wants to pass a 911 on the Autobahn. Inside, it's a masterclass in long-lasting luxury. No rattles, no cheap stitching, no soft plastics that melt in the sun. Even the glass-touch center console, the part people feared would age badly, holds up shockingly well in the refresh generation.
But smart buyers need to hear this. Avoid the early hybrid models with questionable battery pack maintenance. Avoid cars with air suspension neglect. Avoid Panameras with cheap aftermarket tuning. These engines do not like shortcuts. A clean 2021 to 2024 Panamera with proper records, though? You get S-Class comfort, 7 Series space, A8 refinement, and Porsche reliability. That's why the Panamera earns the number 2 spot. It's the luxury sedan that finally became the reliability pick because Porsche stopped experimenting and started perfecting. But number 1? It's the Porsche that blends supercar performance, daily driver dependability, and long-term durability in a way no other modern Porsche has achieved.
Number 1. Porsche 911 992, 2020 to 2024. Starting around $105,000 used and climbing past $180,000 for Carrera 4S, GTS, and special trims, this is the Porsche that proves one thing better than anything else in the automotive world. You don't need a garage queen. You need a 911. Picture this. You walk up to a 992.
The body stretched perfectly over those wide rear arches. No unnecessary angles, no fake vents, no dramatic nonsense. Just sculpted, timeless, functional beauty. You pull the door handle, step into a cockpit that feels like a blend of analog soul and digital precision. Clean lines, deep seats, perfect ergonomics. You press the start button. The 3-liter twin-turbo flat-six fires up with the confidence of an engine that knows it was engineered to run hard, run long, and run flawlessly. This is the 911 that Porsche obsessed over. Every weak point from older generations was either redesigned, reinforced, or eliminated entirely. Gone are the IMS concerns of the early 2000s. Gone are the bore-scoring nightmares of the 997. Gone are the temperamental cooling system quirks. Gone is the fragile electronics era. The 992 is the most mechanically stable, electronically stable, and structurally refined 911 ever built.
Let's talk numbers. Not marketing fluff, real-world performance. 379 horsepower Carrera, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. 443 horsepower Carrera S, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. 473 horsepower GTS, 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. Top speed, 182 to 193 miles per hour. And all of it delivered through the legendary Porsche PDK, the dual-clutch gearbox that shifts so quickly it feels like cheating. But here's the part that flips the entire luxury market on its head. Consumer Reports ranks the 911 as the single most reliable luxury sports car in the world. Car Edge shows 10-year ownership costs lower than many mid-size luxury SUVs. Long-term owners report fewer major repairs than BMW M cars, AMG models, and Audi RS cars. One owner wrote, 60,000 miles in 3 years, 0 failures, not one. It's absurd how reliable this car is. Another said, I bought a 911 expecting supercar headaches. Instead, I got Toyota reliability with 180 miles per hour capability. Even J.D. Power's dependability studies put the 911 at the top of the premium performance segment, year after year. But the numbers don't explain why the 911 is number one. The experience does. The steering is perfect, heavy, direct, alive. The chassis is stable, composed under throttle, trustable at the limit. The brakes bite like race-bred hardware. The suspension floats on the highway, yet sharpens like a weapon in corners. And the insane part? It daily drives like a normal car. The 911 isn't fragile. It isn't moody. It isn't needy. It's not the supercar that wants a divorce every time you hit a pothole. It's the supercar that wakes up every morning and asks, "Where do you want to go today?" But here's the secret only experienced Porsche buyers know. A clean, documented 992 Carrera, or Carrera S, will outlast many luxury SUVs, out-resale most German performance cars, and deliver a decade of thrills with minimal drama. The only thing to avoid? Cars with track abuse, redline over-rev events, cheap tuning, neglected oil changes. A proper pre-purchase inspection is mandatory, but with the 992, the right car is almost always worth the wait. This is the Porsche that redefines what a performance car can be. A supercar that doesn't break. A daily driver that runs like a machine built to last. A future classic that behaves like a modern masterpiece. Number one on our list, and rightfully so, the Porsche 992 is the pinnacle of performance reliability in the modern luxury world. If these reliable Porsches impressed you, wait until you see how Mercedes stacks up. In our previous video,
10 best and most reliable Mercedes models worth owning after warranty. We break down the Benz models that don't turn into money pits once the coverage ends. Tap the link on screen or in the description and find out which Mercedes are actually safe to own long-term.